Hey guys, welcome in. First video here on the channel at Avengers Gaming, so if you're here, thank you, appreciate you all. If you do like the content, please feel free to drop that like button. Be appreciated if you do subscribe, but we're going to be dropping in and seeing the best settings for Call of Duty Warzone. This comes down to sensitivities, ADS, types of weapon mounts, and so forth. So please feel free to jump over onto our Twitch channel as well. We do stream most days over at twitch.tv/Avengers Gaming, and I do want to give a shout out to the current subscribers, viewers, followers of the channel. The support has been really mad. I can't thank you all enough. So first video, let's see how we do this, and I hope it gets you those dubs in Warzone. Thank you. So button layout is slightly different from myself. The way I look at it, obviously with the controllers, with the triggers, you have more of an input delay trying to hit a trigger. There's more area for it to cover to engage in the shot. So I actually flip my preset. So I'll go over to tactical, meaning that the right stick is easy to click in to obviously do a drop shot. It's easy to do your tactical sprint and slide cancel. So with the LB and RB, it is some getting used to, I have to admit, but once you do get used to it, I am finding that I've just got a bit of an advantage to those who are actually using triggers, simply because of the response time. So yeah, tactical flipped, have a look at the settings there. So jump and mantle is A, B is melee. That is some getting used to, I have to admit. Use reload, obviously X, switch weapon, so those are all the same, but as you can see, aim down sight behaviour LB, fire weapon RB. Then the tactical and the lethals are your back triggers, your sprint, but then that right stick, the crouch, prone and slide, so much more effective because you could be actually drop shotting while still aiming with your right stick. You're not having to then hit the B button to get a crouch in. So that is a lot more effective when it comes to those one-on-one battles, trying to come up clutch, you know, really trying to get an advantage over the enemy. So let's move on. So the stick layout preset, that isn't something that, you know, we're really going to look at. Neither is in vertical look. It's not something I use. Dead zone, I decrease the dead zone. Simple reason being, it reduces the inner range of where the stick will respond to a registered input. So you know, a slight bit of movement on the stick, the game is registering that I want to be moving that. So hence why I've reduced that. Some may find it a bit oversensitive, but trust me, getting used to it, like I said, it gives you that added advantage, and even a split second over the enemy with a time to kill, you are going to be winning that race. So horizontal stick sensitivity, I like mine, that's fairly medium to be quite honest compared to some players. I am going to keep practicing to get that higher, especially with horizontal. I mean, you know, so you can obviously be snapping around corners with your jump shots a lot quicker. It's just sometimes you can overshoot the snap and miss the target, so you really have to get used to that. So if I was you, I would go up in increments. My next increment will be up to 8 to get a feel for that. Vertical stick sensitivity, I don't think I'll be changing. This is really handy when it comes to aiming for headshots. So you know, you're in a one-on-one battle, you can see the enemy, you start shooting, you're hitting the chest, but you really want to try and get that kill in quick. You want to break their armor, you want to down them as quick as possible. So obviously you're going to be aiming slightly up to hit those headshots, be it with your, you know, your SMG, your assault rifle. So the vertical is at 5. Makes it a lot more smoother. It's not too fast, but it's quick enough to try and get an advantage over the enemy. Now ADS low zoom, by default that is 1. Now people might say to me, you know, you're 0.98, that's not going to make any bit of a difference. It probably isn't, but I think I feel it within myself. And to be quite honest, I think that may go a bit lower, just so it's smooth. You know, you're zoomed in, anything obviously below 3.25 zoom, you're zoomed in, you're tracking an enemy. Sometimes you can over track and you're too quick and you miss your shots, whereas I just try and think, right, how quick can that enemy run, and how quick does my ADS, or how slow does my low ADS need to be to actually just have that smooth motion with the enemy. So I'm getting a feel for that, but 0.98 for me is working really well. And then we move on to high zoom ADS. Now this is for mainly for your sniper rifles, to be quite honest. You know, you can put your high scopes on, be it your FAL, and even some more with the assault rifles with the kilo and things, but you know, mainly for the likes of your HDR and your X50s or your Car 98s. Now I've reduced that some more. Same reason being, if you're in a high zoom and the enemy starts to try and, you know, you've hit them once, you've cracked them, they're trying to get that move away. You don't want to be overshooting. You want to be able to track that movement smoothly. Hence for the 0.95. To be honest, I think I can drop that to 0.90 now, but you know, just getting used to it in myself and feeling what is right. But that still works pretty damn well. I have to admit. So this one is a biggie, I feel, in COD, and not many players, your casual players anyway, are probably aware of this. But your aim response curve type. Now, if we look at this standard simple power curve map from aim stick to aim rate. Now, your linear aim stick maps directly to aim rate. Now, what that means is when you have your, obviously you're running around with your right stick, you're trying to look, and you have your center point on screen. Always remember, guys, that the center of your screen is where you will always shoot. It's impossible not to shoot there because that's where the game is engineered for your focal point. So even though you can see an enemy to the left, always think, right, I need to get that enemy in my center frame. Doesn't matter, center frame, that you will then be hitting shots. So with dynamic, for myself, it reverses the S-curve mapping for fine aim rate control. So when you can see somebody from the left, you've started to look left, trying to get them, and as soon as you go into your sight, you know, your ADS, it's just got a really smooth, fluid flow to there. So by the time you're almost like you can preempt where the enemy's going to be for your center frame. You then go into your ADS, and it all just ties in really nicely. There's this nice fluid motion, and I think with Warzone and the type of game it is about fluidity. You know, these really fast players, they've got the sensitivities really high. They're still very fluid when it comes to shooting. So that for me has been a big change. I used to have it on the standard, but now dynamic, I would not go back. I really wouldn't. So moving down, controller vibration, get rid of it. You don't need it. Some people like an immersive gameplay where you can feel everything. To me, it's an extra hindrance. You know, you've got your hands on the pad, you're really locked in, and you're feeling vibrations from absolutely everything, and you're trying to get the shot off. Literally, the vibrations could be putting you off just that little bit, and you could be missing your shots. You know, you're talking fine margin, guys. So I think with the controller vibration, I don't use it. It is down to preference, but if you haven't got it off, give it a try. Give it a try and let me know how you get on in the comment section. Aim assist, standard. People think, you know, obviously with PC players, you don't have aim assist, which to me, I think it would take some getting used to, but it'd be far better. So standard on a controller for me is kind of like the mean average, where you know you just want a little bit of slowdown to the target. Anybody using focusing, you're going to be at a disadvantage, because that game, when you start to snap on, be it from left to right or right to left, that sight is going to slow down so much to try and get a precision shot in. Well, that other player can be very fast, they might not have this on, and they're just naturally good with that right stick, or obviously PC player, and they've snapped straight onto you, and they're an extra 3-4 bullets ahead of you. So, you know, that is something to take into consideration. So I use that on standard. I am going to move over to disabled, even on a pad. I think if we can master disabled on a pad, then we're winning. You know, you're really going to be a good advantage. So yeah, just try and look out for that one. You may have precision on focusing because you feel like that's going to really help you to lock onto a target, but trust me, I believe that is actually going to, you know, hinder you. So just think about that one. Just think about that one. Now, weapon mount, I think this is very important, to be quite honest. I use double tap ADS, which is your double tap aim down sight behaviour. It's quick and it's easy. So for example, if you're getting pinned down, be it behind a barrier or behind a wall, as you can see in the image there, you don't have to actually then look up and engage in the ADS. I could sometimes just be literally crouching. I'm not in view of the enemy. I'm getting a feel for where they are, where they're shooting me from. I'm already lining that shot up almost before I go into the weapon mount. Now, weapon mount, if you don't know, it's a much more controlled shot. It reduces the recoil as it would because you've mounted the weapon on an object. You're not free-handing it. So I double tap that ADS, you're already snapping in, you're hopefully you've got a fix on the enemy, and then you can start to let fire, put some pressure on, change your angle, try and get out of there. You know, who knows, depending on the situation. But double tap is great. And then moving forward in regards to the weapon mount, movement exit enabled. I think this is really important. Literally just being able to move away in a direction from that mount, it will get you out of there. You haven't got to double tap the weapon, that aim down sight behaviour again, to then come out of that weapon mount. I just think it's quick. Anything that's going to... I think Call of Duty, and especially Warzone, is all about time, guys. It's all about split-second decisions and how quick you can do things. So, by reducing the time it takes to do something, that's half the battle. Then obviously getting, you know, used to shots and being able to rotate and things, but that will come into another video. So yeah, the less you do, the less you have to do, the better. Obviously, aim down sight behaviour is the standard. You want to be holding that. Equipment behaviour, hold fine. Now this is important as well. Use/reload behaviour. So, you know, when you're running around, and sometimes you have to open a box, and if you want to pick something up, it's usually press and hold. Contextual tap. You can then just be running over things, tapping. You're picking it up quick. You're not holding that be it that X button on obviously Xbox or the square button on PS. Contextual tap, absolutely brilliant. You've only got to tap it to obviously reload. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It just makes your game a lot quicker. Obviously that is a standard. If you run out of ammo and you know you're trying to fire and you're in that battle sometimes. I mean, I'm ex-army. You're always told to count your shots, so running out of ammo shouldn't be a problem. But if you do, you want to switch to your secondary. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's a sniper, you can get those quick scopes in, anything that's going to give you that advantage. So that to me should be as a standard, it should be enabled. Now with the movement, slide behaviour, tap. I want to be able to be sprinting and then literally just tap that right stick in and I'm sliding. What that allows me to do then is our slide cancels. Now slide cancels will be coming in another video when we talk about rotation and methods to play the game. Slide cancel is very, very abused in this game simply for speed. Like I said, it's all about timing and speed, so just have that slide behaviour on tap. Auto move forward, you may find a lot of PC players having this on. It means they can go to their tap map while the player is still moving in that direction that they're willing to go. I just can't get to grips with it on console, on pad. Simple reason being is that I could be, you know, heading to an enemy contact and I'm fighting, and then all of a sudden it's like, why is my player moving? Oh, I haven't cancelled it. I need to drag back on the stick. It's not something that comes naturally, so I don't use those. I don't use automatic sprint either. Resensor on the vehicles, I think that's just, it's my preference. Auto deploy parachute, right. How many times have you jumped out and into an area and you can see enemies going there, but you think, no, do you know what, I'm going to get that down there first, I'm going to get that contract, I'm going to get that weapon, and I'm going to go to war. But they made it down quicker than you. I think, to be quite honest, unless you don't deploy that chute first, when you first jump out of a plane, my force of habit is, as soon as I jump, I deploy. I use my LT, I have a quick look at who's where. Sometimes I get a couple of downs by seeing what enemies are next to me whilst I'm in the air, which, to be honest guys, I will put it out there, ex-parachute regiment, jumping out of a plane at that speed, you're not going to be pulling out a sidearm and shooting people, so it's one of them. I just find it absolutely barbaric that you can actually shoot people out of the sky, but it is what it is. But yeah, disable your parachute, because it gives you that extra advantage. So you can literally just jump out of the plane, you can be aiming to where you want to get to, and you literally deploy it when you want, so you can really push it to the limit. You can really push it to the limit to make sure that you're getting down first. Getting down first is going to give you an advantage. You can pick up any ground weapons, you can start a contract so your other lads can land on it. Anybody landing with you, they're a bit behind. You've already picked up, say, it's a mini Uzi, for example. You see them landing in, boom, in the face, they're down, they're back in the gulag. So, you know, that is an important one. So, guys, I think that's what we're going to be that's what we're going to cover on the controller side of things. Now, when it comes to visuals, I think this is important, and what we're going to talk about here is the input device, which will be at the end of this video. So I'm going to go through the grains and the brightnesses. So brightness, I have it at 48, depending on the monitor, it's completely up to you, but film grain 0. You don't need a cinematic view when you're playing Call of Duty. You really don't. I just don't understand it. You know, why would you want to have something that looks like you're watching a film that's designed to look like a film? You just wouldn't. Subtitles disabled. I literally just do that so nothing comes across the screen that I don't want to. Now, colorblind type. This is completely down to preference, the way that your monitor's set up. But I find with the better contrast on. Now, don't slate me in the comment section for the deuteranopia, something like that. I find that this is more appealing to me from a visual aspect. I get to see things more vibrant, especially when, say for example, you're on trios or duos and your teammate's hitting an enemy and he's called it out and you're looking at that area and sometimes you might not be able to see it, but I find that I can see the blood. It sounds I can see the blood really, really easy with this on. So obviously have a play around with that, get used to what you can see. Now colorblind target, I put it in both, which is world and interface, so then you can see everything in that particular one. World motion blur, you don't need it, it's a game. Obviously naturally in life, I think if you are running fast, you know, our eyes can only input so much. You will have a bit of blur, especially in your peripheral vision. You're not going to be able to see it, but it's a game for God's sake. So turn it off. Weapon blur off. Don't need it. Don't put yourself to a negative, you know, when it comes to being able to see the enemy or see what you're going to be doing. So mini map shape. Square, please. Look at the amount of extra map you get to see on square. Circle is cutting off. I would like to say that's probably 20%, 20 to 30% of extra map you're getting on a square. So it allows you to see quickly without going into the tap map. If there's an enemy close and they've not got those suppressors on, you're going to see those hit marks on the map. So really use that to your advantage. Mini map rotation, I enable that. It just feels so much better. So it rotates with you. You can see, you know your bearings. You can point it out to the teammate. With it static, I just find it very, very off-putting. I really do. Now, compass, this is completely preference, guys. It really is. But I like to have the letters on. Obviously, being army, you just use numbers. You can use, obviously, northwest, southeast. But I use the letters as well, simply for players with me. So rather than me just calling out numbers all the time, I'll call west, you know, 240. So they're already trying to snap onto west. And then they can see that there's 240 with them. So then it's easier to, obviously, go on to. And then everything else is absolutely completely down to you guys, obviously with the content filters, and that is pretty much it. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop right there, and I'm going to show you something to do with the armor plates. Now this does involve, I think if you have an elite controller, you can do this from the controller, but this does involve me connecting a keyboard and mouse. So if you bear with me, guys, we'll be right back. I'm going to show you something very, very important. Right then, guys, what I've done is I've connected my keyboard and mouse to the Xbox, as you can see here. So we go over, we can select keyboard and mouse, which gives you many different options, obviously down below. But this is what you want to get to. You want to go up to keyboard and mouse here. If it lets me click it, that is. Right then, you come up into a whole new setup of what you can use. Now this, what you select, actually will stick around when you use your controller, which is really, really mad. But if we go down to kill streaks and vehicles, now look at that, armor plate behavior. This is, honest to God, this will change your game. Where you can see apply one, press to apply one armor plate, press multiple times to use one armor plate after the other until you have maximum armor capacity, or run out of armor plates. Simple. Right, how many times on the Xbox, you're pressing and holding Y to put the armor plates on, you're pressing and holding to get the armor plates on, and you then, you know, you get sidetracked, enemies are coming in, and you've only put 2 on. I know it's a bit rookie, but I've done it, and I'm sure others do it as well. I believe that with this setting, armor plate behavior, I apply all. So I literally press and hold that Y for like half a second. My player then is putting on all the armor plates it needs to put on with what I've got left. It allows me to sprint, run, pick up things. You know, you can still play the game. You can get out of a situation while you're still putting the armor plate on. Rather than trying to use your left stick, right stick, hold Y and tap it on and get out of a sticky situation, it's really, really hard. So go over to your keyboard and mouse, plug that in if you can. If you're on Elite controllers, I do believe that you can do it from the controller and a click apply all. Trust me guys, you're gonna see a big difference. Right then, now I had a question in the stream the other day. I hate it when I go to put apply all on and contact happens and I'm sitting there and I'm still putting plates on. Right, double tap Y, it cancels, so you can cancel and actually then go back to your secondary, go back to your primary, and obviously go to war. So that's very important. So guys, I think from that I've covered most things. I do appreciate you. This is the first video on the channel. I do stream most days over on twitch.tv/Avengers Gaming. If you do like the content, please drop that like button, please subscribe. Your support on the streams have been absolutely insane. I can't thank you all enough, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Thank you.